14,060. I have ability, so why is my life stuck? Question. Greetings, mentor. I am in my 30s, born in the year of the sheep, and am currently facing my Samjae, 3 years of misfortune. Since childhood, I have always thought ahead of my time and possessed an exceptionally good memory. Also, perhaps thanks to Taekwondo, which I started out of pure love at the age of 6, I have always actively looked for things I needed to do and opened my eyes to society from a relatively young age. Before meeting you, during my university years, I desperately wanted to find out who I was. Consequently, I drifted through international society and sought myself in religion during my 20s, which was my previous Samjae period. It was then that I accidentally came across your lectures. From that point on, I began to reflect on my Saju astrological destiny, look back on my life, and repent. As a result, though I have only realized it now, I discovered that for the past 20 years since my youth, I had been pushing away connections and the blessings of people in Diok through my own stubbornness and self-righteousness. At times, I fell into an inexplicable sense of superiority and lived a life that wasn't truly mine. The agony of that realization now holds me back, keeping me from taking a step forward for my future. Utilizing my English, Chinese, and Japanese language skills, I worked as an overseas salesperson at my first job in Gumi, Gyeongbuk, for a year and 6 months. However, 7 months ago, under the pretext of publishing a book and making a short film, I left the company. Currently, I have sent a letter to the company's CEO expressing my aspirations for re-employment and am waiting for a response, while also using this time to re-examine my life's direction. I have realized that my constitution is a blend of the wood constitution Mokchejir and water constitution Suchejir, which means my senses are a step slower than others. On the other hand, as an Ipan, a scholar researcher who has re-entered Samjae in my 30s, I would like to know what I should correct first as a person with such contradictory constitutions and traits. Furthermore, though I am usually gentle and feminine, as someone born in the year of the sheep who has previously gone so far as to ransack the house when angry, I would like to ask you, mentor, how to live a proper and concrete life during this Samjae without acting rashly in the upcoming spring. Thank you, Master.
Well, people with exceptional abilities have good conditions in this society, so for them, things are very easy. However, nature never gives us a path where we can live easily. Those who were given great ability were given it so they could put in even more effort commensurate with that ability. Those who were given lesser ability were given it to make efforts from where they are. This is fair. Humans were born as humans to live while making efforts. Otherwise, we would have just been left in the spiritual realm. To become human means a God spirit enters this physical body of an animal to become human. The physical body is material energy, and gods are non-material energy. The reason I emphasize this is because while matter is energy, and non-matter is also energy, matter is just one single matter. Even if it transforms into 50,000 different things, matter is one. All matter in the great universe operates as one. That is why it is called the one true God. You will sin. We must understand the one true God correctly. It doesn't mean our God is the only God, but rather that God is the one true God. However, we have non-material energy spirits, and these are spirits plural. The word spirits means there are multiple individual entities, whereas the one true God means there is only one. How is it one? Everything in this grand universe consists of matter, but it changes according to the environment. Depending on the environment, an energy called iron was made. Depending on the environment, an energy called water was made. Though everything is transforming according to the environment, it is being operated as a single whole. On the other hand, individual spirits refer to our soul spirits, the human soul spirit. However, if it hasn't come to a human body, and then separated from it to go as a spirit, it is not called a spirit, but an elemental energy. There are elemental energies in the universe, meaning non-material energy exists within material energy. They are non-material energies, but when they enter an environment created as a physical body and live as a human, once they separate, they are then soul spirits. They are no longer called elemental energies. When we return to our original source, Wanzi Banbon, 70% of the elemental energy that belongs to my place is there. That is elemental energy. It became a bit long, because I wanted to explain it in a way that makes sense. But anyway, the questioner came to this society under great conditions with many abilities, but upon entering society and seeing what others were doing, they seemed a bit pathetic to you. So, you went running ahead wildly, and eventually, you ended up exhausted. If the ability granted to you is needed by someone, you must put in effort for that person. If it is needed by someone else, you must put in effort again. By exerting effort, your own energy grows and develops further. But what happens if you play aloof because you think you're so smart? You possess the ability, but because it isn't being used for others, because it isn't being used correctly, you get struck by your own energy and fall into hardship. Do you think this person referring to himself has better abilities than the questioner? Or worse, even if one's abilities are superior, what happens if they aren't used correctly? I would become the loneliest person in the world. I am currently using all the abilities I have for the people who come before me seeking help. Then what happens? My energy grows even further. It grows even if you don't try to make it grow. But what if I hide the ability I have, saying, I won't give it to you? Then what happens? I turn into the loneliest person in the world, and because there is not a single person left who recognizes me, life becomes incredibly difficult. The ability given to you was meant to be used for those who are less capable than you, and through using it, you develop. Corporations will need it, your neighbors will need it, and your colleagues will need it. If you have time, use it wherever it is needed. Through using it, you develop. For those who have been given great abilities, use that great capability to actively help where there are weaker areas around you. If you do so, your path ahead will open up naturally. That is exactly why you were given great ability. If you have the ability to cook well, live for the sake of those who cannot cook. Then your ability will shine and develop even more. Therefore, you must not think you are all that great. Instead, realize there is nothing to be more grateful for than having an ability that can be used for anyone. Since our young friend here possesses great abilities, if you use them from now on to find people in society who need you and make efforts together, stop looking down from the height of your ability, treat it simply as something granted to you, and mingle with others to solve things together. An incredibly wonderful path will open up from this moment on. Let's work together to figure it out.